Yo, what's cracking everyone? Ericship 111 here. So as we know, Forza Horizon 5 features around 900 cars in the game, which is absolutely massive for an open world racer. But what if I told you there could have been even more? Cars that have been discovered, spotted, or quietly left behind within the game's file, yet never made it into the final release. These aren't rumors, these aren't wishlist fantasies, these are real unused vehicles that at some point during development were either planned, tested, or at least referenced, but for one reason or another never saw the light of day. And today we're going to go through every single one of them with a simple rule that an image of the vehicle must exist, therefore any files that only contain text names or internal references won't be included in this video. We're talking full rendered hidden thumbnails, images of undrivable cars sitting within the game, and even accidental trailer leaks that reveals cars we were never supposed to see. This is the complete list of every unused car spotted that didn't quite make it into the final game of Forza Horizon 5. When Forza Horizon 5 was first revealed back at E3 of 2021, it was famously quoted by Playground Games' creative director at the time that this wasn't an ordinary Mercedes AMG One, but it would be the Project One Forza Edition, which was very interesting as this was not only the first time that Playground Games had straight up revealed a Forza Edition variant of a car in their announcement trailer, but we also didn't get a proper box art at the end of the showcase, which would normally reveal the official cover car too. Instead, we got a pretty generic placeholder image. Now, of course, a couple months later at Gamescom, Playground Games would end up confirming that the main cover car for Horizon 5 would be the Mercedes AMG One. But where things get interesting is that when Forza Horizon 5 finally launched, the Mercedes AMG Project One Forza Edition actually did exist, but only as a Horizon promo thumbnail. That's it. There were no official way of obtaining this car, whether it's through a wheel spin or as an accolade reward, and after a few months later, Playground Games would quietly remove the Forza Edition thumbnail altogether, thus erasing the car's existence from the entire game. Now, some modders did attempt to use third-party mods to obtain this vehicle unofficially, and even though there was some success and there were some differences compared to the standard model, such as an incomplete front bumper as well as no perks, the Forza Edition AMG Project One just didn't look the same as the one from the announcement trailer. Most notably, the iconic livery was missing. However, after 4 years later, I believe I have found the answer. In this particular interview Playground Games did with IGN, the creative director made a small clarification that the car that was showcased at E3 was the Mercedes Project One, which was technically the prototype version of the AMG One, which is why it featured the special unique livery, and that it would be slightly different to the final production model that ended up being on the cover of Forza Horizon 5. This means that during the time around E3, the final production AMG One was not quite ready to be revealed as the official cover car, hence why the official box art wasn't revealed until later, and the prototype variant was used as a current placeholder. With that said, there's only one small part where the Project One is still present in Forza Horizon 5, and that is in the intro of the Horizon Anniversary story, where for a split second you can see the prototype variant all with its livery in a quick cinematic. Let me know if you guys would love to have seen the prototype version of the AMG One featured in Forza Horizon 5. Very early on, many car thumbnails would end up being leaked, giving us the community a glimpse of what vehicles we could expect for future updates. Now, some of these would not be introduced into Forza Horizon 5 until much later on in the game's life, such as the Subaru Brat, the Mitsubishi FTO, and even the Lincoln Continental. However, once Playground Games revealed that Series 43 would essentially be the final monthly update that would feature new content, there was still quite a handful of car thumbnails all completely updated with modern textures that would be left unused within the game's file. These include the 1957 Ford Thunderbird, an old school classic that was only ever seen featured once previously, and that was back in Forza Motorsport 4, the 2012 Chrysler 300 SRT8, an American saloon that was last featured back in Forza Horizon 3 and Forza Motorsport 7, and you can even see the thumbnail being slightly altered compared to the Horizon 3's version, which would suggest that this thumbnail wasn't a direct copy and paste despite being positioned in the same angle. The 2010 Porsche Boxster S, not only would this have been a returning car from Forza Motorsport 4, but it was also seen very briefly in the trailer of Series 4 right about here. The 2010 Audi R8 5.2 FSI Quattro, the official cover car for Motorsport 3, and was actually last featured in Motorsport 5 when the franchise transitioned from the Xbox 360 consoles to the Xbox One generation, until it was recently introduced in the latest Forza Motorsport title. The 1995 Honda CRX Del Sol SIR, once again another classic that was last seen in Forza Motorsport 4, and since this car didn't end up being featured in Horizon 5 but the Mitsubishi FTO did, I believe we will most likely see the Del Sol in Forza Horizon 6 Japan. The 1971 Plymouth GTX, last seen in the Horizon series back in the second installment, the GTX is however currently featured in the latest Forza Motorsport. Then we have the 2006 Ford GTX 1, only ever featured back in the original Forza Horizon. I can't believe Playground Games would completely re-render the vehicle, all with up-to-date textures and resolutions, only for it to stay hidden. Then we have the 2017 Subaru Crosstrek Desert Racer. This would have been a new to Forza car, perfect for the Baja terrains, but what's actually more interesting is that despite the hidden thumbnails, the developers over at Playground Games would also include this buggy in a couple of their concept arts, as well as having the official license holders, the Grabowski brothers, included in the in-game credits too. Why was it never introduced? We will never know. Then we have the 1939 Chevrolet C1500 Brass Monkey Barrett Jackson. Again, this would have been a new to Forza car in Forza Horizon 5, but perhaps this car was meant to be a part of the original Barrett Jackson's car pack from Forza Horizon 4, as this car was built in 2016. So to say this car was left unused since 2018 wouldn't be an outrageous thought. And then we have the 1997 Land Rover Defender PayPal Edition. Till this day, I have no idea what PayPal Edition really means. I'm not sure if it has anything to do with the company PayPal itself, but certainly a very interesting hidden vehicle. Now, although I would love to go through all the other hidden thumbnails that were discovered individually, there's just so many of them. Therefore, here's an image of every other unused car thumbnail that belonged in Forza Horizon 5. Throughout the life of Horizon 5, there has been numerous vehicles spotted in-game that players were simply not able to obtain, as those cars just didn't exist. Let's begin with the 2012 Aston Martin Vanquish, last seen in Forza Horizon 4. This car was actually featured in every Forza Horizon game except for Horizon 5, with the exception that when Playground Games introduced the commemorative splash screens back in Series 13 to celebrate 10 years of Horizon, in the Forza Horizon 2 throwback, we actually see the Vanquish in one of the cinematic shots. Sadly, after 3 years on, this car was never officially introduced. Next, we move on to the Rivals menu, where in the Dirt selection screen, we see an image of the Hoonigan Gymkhana 8 Ford Fiesta ST RX43. Now, this car made its debut into the franchise back in Forza Horizon 4 as part of the Fortune Island expansion. Now, I don't know if Playground Games simply forgot that they included this car in the Rivals tab, or if they had any plans on featuring this vehicle in Horizon 5, but given that this is one of their main features that many Horizon players will use throughout the entire life of the game, seeing an unreleased car here is absolutely baffling. Now this, however, wouldn't be the first time Playground Games would feature unreleased cars in their main menu screens. Throughout multiple monthly festival playlists, we saw a handful of vehicles that were never officially featured. This includes the standard Aston Martin Vulcan, which first appeared in Series 9 in this Speed Trap thumbnail here. Interestingly enough, the Vulcan did get replaced with the AMR Pro once Playground Games recognized this mistake. However, the second time the Vulcan appeared was in Series 12, but luckily for us, this time Playground Games didn't even bother changing the thumbnail, so it still exists if you ever decide to go through your playlist history. Next, we have the 2011 Lotus Evora S, which can be seen in the Series 10 playlist, followed by the 1952 Hudson Hornet, which appeared in Series 14, and then we have the 2001 TVR Tuscan S in Series 15, and the 2004 Vauxhall VX220, which ironically can be seen in Series 29, which was a monthly update that only introduced returning cars from older Horizon titles, but sadly, not the Vauxhall. Now, of course, when it comes to social media posts and trailers, there has been a few occasions that we have seen some unreleased cars get showcased. One example, which I mentioned earlier, was the Porsche Boxster from the Series 4 trailer. However, that was only showcased as a background vehicle. What about the time when Playground Games uploaded a full TikTok featuring the Maserati MC20, drifting around Horizon 5 Mexico before it was quickly deleted within a matter of minutes. Now, the Maserati MC20 was not only one of the most highly requested cars that the community wanted to see based on the votes in the Forza forums, but leading up to the TikTok clip, there were several hints that would suggest that at some point we would see the MC20 featured in Horizon 5. The first dates back to August of 2023, where a data miner found a list of files containing names of new cars, and if we take a look at all of the vehicles featured from this list today, every car except for the Maserati MC20 has been introduced. On top of that, around Valentine's Day in 2024, we would also see two similar posts on Instagram, one from Maserati featuring the MC20 and one from Forza where two already featured Maseratis would be doing burnouts in the shape of a love heart, which could have been coincidental, but I don't think so. And this comes right before the next update, which was already teased to be European automotive. So we all thought surely we would see this car by March, because at this time we all knew that the car already existed somewhere within Forza's database, as in Forza Motorsport. Turn 10 did accidentally reveal the car in a thumbnail before replacing it with the Pininfarina Battista. And once the European automotive update went live, sadly the Maserati MC20 was not featured. And as more monthly updates went by featuring themes that would have easily been a perfect fit for the Maserati, such as Apex All-Stars, Modern Horizons, Horizons Cars and Coffee, it eventually became a meme where every month we would all just predict that the MC20 would be introduced. Now personally, I believe that the car pack from the European Automotives update was originally supposed to feature the Maserati MC20. However, due to whatever licensing issue, it was replaced with the Pininfarina Battista, a bit like the thumbnail leak from Forza Motorsport. Then we have the Porsche 928 GTS, where again over on Instagram, Porsche would post this image featuring some of the most iconic Porsches in Horizon 5, not knowing that the 928 was not officially in the consumer's version of the game. Now what's interesting about the 928 is that this car was first introduced into the Forza franchise back in Forza Horizon 3, and when Horizon 4 released 2 years later, the car sadly sadly went missing again. However, it would reappear very briefly just a few months after launch in a developer's live stream, sparking hopes that this iconic Porsche would return soon. But it would not be until Series 35 in May of 2021, just a couple of updates before Playground Games would no longer introduce new content for Horizon 4, that Playground Games would reintroduce this car back into Horizon 4. It seems to me that Playground Games aren't necessarily fond of the Porsche 928. Another video that was posted over on TikTok featured this Celine S5S Raptor. But hang on a minute, this car doesn't even exist in Forza Horizon 5. In fact, the car was last introduced back in Forza Horizon 4 as part of the Fortune Island DLC. And lastly, and I don't know if I can count this as really, I believe Playground Games were trolling the community just a little bit with this video, and that was using a traffic AI truck to create a stunt jump cinematic. Which unused car from today's video would you actually like to see featured in Forza Horizon 5? Show us your thoughts down in the comment section below, and also, have I missed out on any other unreleased cars that Playground Games have accidentally showcased? Anyways, if you guys did enjoy today's video, please make sure to smash the thumbs up button, as it really does help me out. And of course, if you guys would like to stay up to date with everything Forza Horizon related, be sure to subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.